So we're here in Düsseldorf with Jeff and Duff from the Walking Papers. First of all, how's the tour going so far?
Just starting.
We'll tell you tonight after we play our first show of this tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's been like a little bit more than a year since the record came out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we've been touring, okay, so this is Dusseldorf's the first night of this Biffy run, which is like 17 days. But we have been touring a ton on this record. We toured U.K. a couple weeks ago with Alice in Chains.
Wow.
Which was awesome, really good for our band. We did the Uproar tour of the United States, again with Alice in Chains and Jane's Addiction. A bunch of bands were on that. We've done a bunch of our own gigs. Jeff Angell.
Yeah, we did. And we've been over here a few times, like you said. You know.
We've been over to Europe.
Yeah.
Twice.
3 times a lady.
Well, UK we've been to a bunch of times. Yeah, we've been going at it pretty good.
I think this is actually since before the record. This is the 4th time or 5th time here. Pretty excited about that. To Europe. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like you've already have a fan base? Like, I mean, as I said, the project started like last year.
Yeah, it's brewing. You know, we had some people showed up and they had our banners with our names on it. So that meant, I think that's when you know you're really, then you can know they're there for you.
Yeah.
It actually has your name on it, because sometimes there's people there, but we're not sure if they're there for us or someone else. So.
Here, Jeff, here's what I didn't tell you. I showed up earlier to the gig. I made the banners.
I appreciate
I went out, there were some people standing there, they didn't have nothing better to do. I said, hey, can you guys hold this banner up when we go on? It'll make look, I know that I made the banner, like me, but it'll make everybody else feel good, and that's what happened.
The world needs more people that initiate action like that.
I bet you once they saw us play that night, now they're converted to us. Yeah.
I was thinking about holding up a banner while we played. But it would
of our own name?
But it could have got awkward because playing guitar and holding a banner at the same time could get difficult. And then I could do it like when I fold a blanket and hold the banner in my teeth, but then how are you going to sing and have the banner in your teeth at the same time as you're playing guitar? It's like, it's a lot to do.
I find it's better just to concentrate on one thing.
Mm-hmm. So maybe the banner would be...
Maybe the banner would be the best place to go there.
Mm-hmm. So we did have some fans. They showed up and that was nice. But so I think that there's... People come and they know the lyrics to the songs and stuff, and that's really encouraging. Okay. You know, the enthusiasm is contagious. You know,
and it's pretty. For some reason, it's just kind of an accessible band that I don't think you have to be a fan of hard rock or of alternative rock or whatever. This band kind of fits into all sort of genres. Somehow it does. You know, we've opened for Whitesnake, where the fans were like, probably in their 50s, and they loved us because we're like old 70s blues. To them, they're like, oh, we like this. And then we played with Alice in Chains, which is and we played with all kinds of different bands, and their fans seemed to like us.
And here we are with Biffy Clyro. I would say their audience fan base is pretty young, I think.
Hey, talking about style, I read a pretty cool, it was a customer review on Amazon for your record. And the guy called it, I wrote it down, steady, groovy, slightly artsy, fartsy rock and roll with an edge.
Well, they got the fartsy part right. For sure.
All those other words kind of...
often with artsy comes fartsy. It's just like you can't have one without the other. It's like you can't have nuclear energy without waste. It just happens that way.
I'm going to use that. What did that say again?
It was steady, groovy, slightly artsy, fartsy rock and roll with an edge.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when somebody asks me what's your band like, I'm going to say that exact same thing.
Yeah. I'll leave you my note.
Thank you. Would you?
That'll help.
Sure. I'll put it in my passport. So next time, hold on 1 second. I'll tell you what kind of music we are.
How did it all start? How did you guys meet?
Well, I put out an ad in the recycler
No, that's my story with Guns N' Roses.
Oh. And then you met at a Denny's.
It was
Anders?
that's my story.
Oh, okay. How does this story go?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Duff's a Seattle guy. Grew up in Seattle, and I had a band in Seattle, and somehow he had come across our band while he was...
Post-Stardom Depression.
Yeah.
Killer rock band, 2000, 2001.
Yeah. So we had, and then we met there, and then we stayed in touch, and then we finally got the opportunity to work together, and then so when we started jamming with Barrett, and I was like the coolest bass player I know was this guy. So I figured I'd throw a bomb to the end zone and see if he was interested in. Apparently he had nothing else going on that particular weekend, so he came down and recorded the bass, and then we got, That's really not what happened. That's a lie. What happened is it's actually he needed some carpentry done on his house, and I am a carpenter, and so I said, I'll do this carpentry work if you can come down and play some bass tracks. So the thing is his house is very old, so it needs a lot of carpentry. So, it's been going back and forth. So a lot of time we get off a tour and we return right back to working on his house in Seattle, and then it's good because as long as the carpentry, I kind of plan like it's, what do they call it, planned obsolescence. So I'll build something, but maybe I'll use materials that are going to not last too long because I would hate for
So there will be more bass playing.
Yeah, it's like the Winchester Mansion. It's the McKagean Mansion. As long as there's carpentry that needs to be done, Walking Papers has a bass player.
So, I played with Barrett in the mid-90s, Barrett Martin, the drummer, and we jammed for like a week, and it was just one of those guys like I always hoped I'd play with at some point later, And Jeff, same thing. I saw his band play at this place in Seattle called the Sunset Tavern. I think the first time I saw him, just killer. And I really liked Jeff's style. We became friends pretty much that night, and we've stayed in pretty close touch and become better friends through the years. And another one of those guys I've always wanted to work with. And when both of them, Barrett and Jeff, called me. Hey, we're working on a record together. Would you come and play bass? We on a couple tracks. So I went down. His songwriting, I know about his songwriting. It's killer, So I was like, I hope it's the Jeff Angell, songwriting style, which it was. And with Barrett's drums on it, it's just really sick and pretty ridiculous. So I played on it. It just felt good. We played a gig as a three-piece. Like our first gig was Jeff, myself, and Barrett. And but Ben had played keys on the record, so we played another gig in Seattle, and Ben came, and it just felt completely natural and right, and it's really good. Like from my point of view, like to play bass again. I'd really been missing playing bass, and so it all just kind of melded together and started playing shows, and here we are a year later in Dusseldorf, starting yet another tour.
What makes it special playing with the Walking Papers, being a member of the Walking Papers, like maybe compared to the other bands you've been in?
Playing bass, you mean?
Well, also playing from bass playing perspective, but also being a member of this band.
Yeah, it's just a whole, it's kind of a different, it's a challenge for me because the grooves are different, and it's not like the usual driving bass like the two big bands, VR and Guns, were like this driving, where the bass was almost the drums, in a lot of cases, like Appetite. The bass was like the timekeeping thing. So this, I get to sit back in this big pocket that Barrett Martin creates, and there's a lot of space in this, and I have to fill some of the space, but it's not the way I'm accustomed to filling the space musically. So it being a challenge and it being kind of funky, which is sort of music like Prince and Sly and the Family Stone I've always loved. This is kind of the closest thing I've gotten to being in like a dirty, like, it's not a funk band, but it's just a dirty sort of like groovy thing, and it's good guys. It's like we're all a group in Seattle. We're all bros. You know, it's not like I went over and had to re-meet a bunch of people. These are my friends, and we're all friends. And but musically, it's just a challenge. The way Jeff writes, and it's you don't bludgeon these songs. You let these songs play. You know, and you there's a musical finesse in this band that it's really pretty rewarding for me. It's like kind of like going to musical church every night.
So it's also something new musically and the bass playing wise. It's
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not reinventing a wheel or anything, but it is new and it's a challenge, and it's I've developed even a new bass sound because of this band, and yeah.
Are you currently writing new songs while you're on the road?
Yeah, I mean, we always got when sometimes we don't get a sound check. I mean, if we have time to make racket on our own, songs come pretty good. Pretty fast, and it's like we're kind of going. The new method is kind of been like we just jam a lot, and then all those parts, like when the shiny parts, rise to the surface, and we kind of choose those, and then so for me, it's actually a really good time to like work on the lyrics and listen to the stuff on the. I actually got my little book right here, so I can be like.
Okay.
So I get in the little thing, and I get.
See if we can get a peek.
So we get like the little things and all the ideas so I write all the lyrics down in the thing, and as we're kind of going, I can listen to the stuff and then try out different things on myself. Because at home, a lot of times, I get busy or whatever, and there's a lot of downtime with the driving and the touring and stuff, and it's like you get jet lag and then you're in the hotel room but you can't sleep or whatever. But so it's like all that peaceful time. I think it's really a good time to at least work on the lyrics part of it, which is musically everybody seems to make things happen really fast and instantly. Everybody in here's got really good musical instinct, and so doing the lyrics part, it's like I would hate to write a cheap lyric for the songs that I think are really special.
He doesn't write cheap lyrics, so
I think they're awesome. I mean, I also listened to the Missionary Position. Just yesterday I listened to the Consequences album. It's awesome. What inspires you to write these lyrics?
I think that it's I think a lot of musical things, which is funny about musical, is as a kid, I felt like a really awkward kid, especially where I lived. There wasn't many kids that were into rock or this and that. And then I got, like some kids, it's like, maybe I had some difficult home life. So I really liked the escape that listening to records gave me. And then being a creative kid, then when I would hear other people's songs, and I would want to write my own songs. And so there was like an escape in that to like create characters or something like. So it's like really I don't have much use for like movies or all this kind of thing, because it's like I would rather get lost in writing a lyric to a song, and I'm creating my own, at least lyrical, like plot. But then the music, of course, like anybody that knows a film is like half of a film watch a film without the soundtrack, and it's not as suspenseful or as exciting or whatnot. So it's like the music provides the soundtrack, and it's like I can totally just get lost in that place and basically entertain myself with the ideas and everything. But the funny part about this is you do all these things because you're introvert, and then you can meet other people that are like you, and you get a little band, and then you get a crew, but then you go out and then you got to play to all these people, so then you got to learn to be an extrovert. So it's like it knows what's good for you. So even music, it knows what's good for you when you need a place to go, but it also, if maybe you're spending too much time in there, it forces you to get out. And so music's a total blessing in many ways like that.
What kind of bands inspired you back in the days when you started?
Well, of course, Guns N' Roses was a huge influence on me, and Black Sabbath was the first guitar rock that I really got into was Black Sabbath. Probably before that I liked what was on the radio that I thought was good. It was like the Fix and the Cure and the Police, and so it's more like kind of angular pop music. And then one of my older brother's friends brought home the Ozzy Speak of the Devil record that had all the Black Sabbath songs on it. And it was live, but then it was like basically Black Sabbath's greatest hits, which then I was like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be. That's what I feel like inside. And then, so those were like the first And then of course, when the Guns N' Roses stuff came out, like I didn't really the rock that was too much pretty and fabricated and produced, I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound like, it's not really fitting my mold because I'm not that dude. But then at the same time, I wasn't the death metal accused Slayer kind of kid. So Guns N' Roses and kind of came along and found, gave me a band, and then that kind of, I think there was a lot of bands in Seattle that were kind of had that same thing, and then so quickly I found the Seattle local bands around there, and then as a kid, saw Alice in Chains and Mother Love Bone and all those bands in clubs, in the Melvins, and so I was fortunate to be spend my early teens in Seattle, and they basically give you a roadmap to how rock and roll should be right there.
Do you still take the time to listen to music? Also, like the old records that inspired you, like back in the days, like the Iggy Pop stuff or the Pistol stuff.
I do. I just 2 nights ago in freaking Mexico City, I listened to the My War Black Flag record before I went on. Listened to the whole record, and I have right before that I listened to the new Prince song Breakfast Can Wait, and my daughters actually turned me on to a bunch of new music. And she's actually now getting turned on to my music. So it's a really cool trade to have somebody like your own daughter. Like you're trading music with her. So, I listen to new stuff for sure. A lot. And then I'll listen to, what's better than Iggy Pop or Killing Joke or Black Flag?
The answer to that is
Led
not
Zeppelin.
much.
Not much.
I don't know my Black Flag so well. But I don't know the Black Flag. Maybe I need to listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely like the Lust for Life and The Idiot I could listen to nonstop forever. Those records are really important records for me, for sure. But then you also have other records that you can just start from finish right in your head. You don't even need the album anymore. It's just ingrained in your senses. So yeah, of course. So new music, what's great now is there's so much access to all these records that are actually new. Maybe it's not new; it didn't come out yesterday, but it's new to you. So I really like this guy Rick Holmstrom, who plays guitar for Mavis Staples and Booker T.
Mm-hmm.
But due to his Spotify playlist, doesn't seem like many other people know who he is. But I think he's fantastic. And then. The Ruts, where it's like a UK punk band, but I feel like I already...
You just got turned on to that.
Yeah, I'd only heard, I've already worn out the Dead Boys and, and Hanoi Rocks.
So much good music. There's so much good
Sex
music.
Pistols, and then there's the Ruts from over here, which I'd never even heard of until a few weeks ago, and so I've been listening to that, and then but then I'll listen to Buddy Guy, Sweet Tea record, I like that, And then Aphex Twin. I was like, breaking it all over the place.
Never heard of them.
Aphex Twin?
No.
It's like crazy, it's kind of electronic music, but it's pretty
From the
abrasive.
80s.
Okay.
It's pretty abrasive. Techno shit.
Artsy fartsy.
It's pretty artsy
Artsy
fartsy.
fartsy.
Yeah.
Okay. Any advice for new young musicians?
Learn to play your instrument. Get into that thing and find the romance in the craft of that's what always kept me going. I was like, this is so cool. I don't know anything about it. I still feel that way. Like I don't know shit about my craft. There's another, just like Jeff's talking about music. There's so much good music, and I almost purposely keep some music not discovered yet. There's time to discover that artist. I'll do that, next year or in 5 years. And same thing with playing an instrument. I don't know. I think learning and finding the mystery in playing in a band or just playing your guitar is cool. And if you don't have that, then you probably just shouldn't do it. If you just want to be famous.
Yeah.
Or some shit. Then probably it's not going to happen for you.
Yeah, I think if people play music for the right reasons, you know what I mean, then they'll be happy with just the music, right?
And final question. what are the plans for Walking Papers 2014? Maybe new record?
We're going to record some of our new stuff here in January. We're playing a New Year's show in Seattle, which will be fun because we haven't played there in quite some time. So we've been all over everywhere, and then we can come back to our hometown, and then while the iron's hot, and hopefully spend the winter, instead of we were going to spend it in a van in Canada or some shit, which we thought maybe it would be, the studio might be a better place to spend January, and we'll see where that thing takes us.
Then we're going to Soundwave in Australia. We're doing the Soundwave Festival, which is like 5 shows. It's Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and Adelaide.
Yeah, so that's, you get these songs and you get this little record, and then it takes you all over the place.
Yeah.
So the next one, we're hoping maybe we can maybe we're going to outer space. I don't know.
Okay.
We could end up on a satellite somewhere.
So this is the one, the Walking Papers. This is the current album. If you don't have it already, get it. Also available on iTunes and as a deluxe edition. If I say correctly. And you just released it on vinyl, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about that.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Cool.
Looking forward to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks
so much.